Hi everyone, Sean Walbin with Secure Cyber, and this is your weekly cyber update. Well, this week we're going to start with a few articles. The first one we're going to start with has to do with operational technology and issues with patching. Security Week is reporting in a survey that was conducted that they surveyed about 150 C-level executives, specifically over OT environments, and learned that patching is still not happening very often with OT environments due to a number of factors. It has to do with things like a lack of experienced personnel. There seems to be also a concern with downtime, which I completely understand. However, in the situation that we're in right now globally with cyber attacks and specifically attacks on OT environments, we need to make some movement and we need to get past these issues of not having experienced personnel and the fear of downtime, which I think the fear of downtime also translates into the commercial sector as well. But we're going to have to make some progress here. I don't have any recommendations specifically, but just be aware that that survey is out there and it's not good. The next article is very interesting. An article that came out in Bleeping Computer indicates that a ransomware gang was able to utilize a webcam in order to bypass EDR. Now, how in the world would they do this? The ransomware gang was able to provide some details and indicated that they were able to utilize a webcam that was unpatched. When they say webcam, they're talking about a device that is not connected to your computer. And in this particular case, it could be maybe a Polycom device in a conference room. It could be a Teams type thing, like a Logitech Teams room type scenario. Maybe a surveillance camera that's on your network. And this particular webcam had a Linux operating system that was running. And what they did was they were able to use the SMB share on that webcam. So the actual file share protocol. They hosted the malware on that device. They used the device to go get a file from whatever the target was, a file server or whatever. They brought it to the webcam, ran the malware, and then put the file back. That particular case, EDR would not be triggered because it's just a file transaction, and EDR is not going to be seeing that type of activity. So this is a very interesting case. The only way we can think of bypassing something like this or doing a countermeasure for this is some type of maybe honeypot technology or something that would be able to make the device trigger the EDR in order to maybe self-quarantine itself or launch some type of quarantine. So the article is down in the notes, and please take a look at it. Another interesting article, the Microsoft 365 app system is actually triggering a notification to users to back up their data in OneDrive. This is very perplexing because OneDrive is not a valid backup target. I don't know what Microsoft is trying to do here. It's going to massively confuse people. What we have noticed here at Secure Cyber is that there are organizations that improperly think that Microsoft is backing up all of their things for them, and that's actually not the case. Maybe in a short-term type scenario, they have some shadow copies or some stuff available, but we actually deploy cloud-to-cloud backup solutions. In this particular case, we use a cloud product from Barracuda that backs up cloud-to-cloud. That is a proper backup solution. So I'm not quite sure if Microsoft is just trying to maybe get people to utilize the OneDrive platform a little bit better, but this is super confusing. So make sure that you're paying attention to that article and getting in front of it if you manage a network, and educate your users. Maybe try and shut that message down, but that's going to be a mess. I'm just going to very briefly bring up this article because we could talk about this every day. There's an article out there right now on Bleeping Computer indicating that there are like 37,000 vulnerable VMware servers exposed directly to the internet that are actively being exploited by a vulnerability. Now, I've talked about this before. If at all possible, please do not expose your VMware servers directly to the internet. In this case, the report that I saw, I think there were, of the 37,000, there were like 3,500 or 3,700 here in the United States. The rest were scattered throughout the world. But anything exposed directly to the internet, please make sure that you are Johnny on the spot with patches. And if you can get around it, please don't expose it and at least put it behind a DMZ or some type of other authentication system like a VPN with multi-factor authentication. All right, there's a FBI public service announcement that's out there that just came out on March 6th, indicating that there's a ransomware group out there, or not a ransomware group, but a group. The name is actually a ransomware group, but the FBI is not able to connect the name of the group that is using this particular scenario that I'm about to tell you about. We don't know if they're related. So it's the Buy-in Lion group, is basically targeting C-level executives, high-level execs. They're sending them emails indicating that they have gained access to their network and they have obtained sensitive files, and they are giving them a link or a QR code in order to scan to go online and pay, upwards of $250,000 to $500,000 within 10 days of receipt. I'm assuming since this letter is out that maybe some people have fallen victim to this. So the link to the article, the public service announcement from the FBI, is down in the notes. Please take some time to read over this and then send it to your executives and educate them. Maybe educate your entire employee base and let them know that this is out there. And we'll keep an eye on this for you. But this just came out probably 1 or 2 days ago. Last thing I wanted to do today was I spoke this week at the Ohio Information Security Conference here in the Dayton, Ohio area. And it was a great conference. The session was packed. I talked about nation-state attacks, some of the stuff we've talked about here on the channel. And I wanted to go over some of the more specific things that I talked about at the conference. Some of this involves EDR, endpoint detection and response, making sure that you are getting actual EDR. There is a problem right now in the industry where a lot of vendors are saying that they're EDR platforms and they're really not. So the improper use of the word EDR, because there's no universal description or definition of EDR. So just be super careful about that. Make sure that you're really doing your due diligence with your vendors. There was a situation just not too long ago. We got word that there was a lot of ransomware that was distributed in a community, multiple organizations, and the one thing that was in common was that all of them had malware bytes. So just make sure that you're choosing the right products, especially at the endpoint, in order to make sure that you combat ransomware. And EDR is not the only product that you need in order to put up a proper defense. So browser isolation technology is something that's also of interest. I think we need, as administrators, we need to talk more about browser isolation technology and use stuff like that. Inserting the word continuous into everything we talk about. So continuous threat hunting, continuous pen testing, continuous vulnerability scanning. The article that we talked about earlier in the show about the webcam, that's a perfect example of EDR is not a one-stop shop solution. So by just saying I have EDR, I am protected from ransomware and from advanced threats, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. Defense in depth is definitely something that is 100% accurate. You need to have multiple layers in order to combat a threat. AI email detection technology, so shifting from more of your traditional. I just see a lot of companies staying with traditional technologies and sticking with their vendors, which is fine as long as the vendor is moving in the direction of the threats. So here at Secure Cyber, we had to actually swap out our Fortimail product for Perception Point, which was then purchased by Fortinet. But many of you have heard me talk about, the fact that I travel the world looking at newer technologies and startup technologies in order to make sure that our customer base has the very latest technology that is available in order to combat these very, very advanced threats. And then a couple other things, just AI governance. So I'll actually be leaving for Israel in the next week or two to look at new AI technology that is a protection system for something like a ChatGPT that you might deploy at your organization. And then threat hunting. We have talked about threat hunting a little bit here, but really getting to the point where you can consume alerts that come out with indicators of compromise. So a bad guy has gotten into a network, they've been able to fingerprint it, and somebody produces a bulletin that has an IP address, a domain, and a file hash on it. Being able to take that information very quickly, load it into your tools, and then threat hunt your environment for a number of days. Our platform that we use here threat hunts for 90 days at a time once we load a threat history into it. So once we populate that with IPs, domains, and file hashes, we're searching tens of thousands of devices every day for 90 days to look for that activity. And that's all we have for this week. Next week, I will be on the road, and we'll be at a very interesting place. And we are going to do the weekly cyber update from the road. No, I won't be driving, for those of you that were concerned about that. But you'll be very interested in the location that we'll be at and the topic that we're going to be talking about. So let's just say that it's thousands of miles from here, and you're going to be really excited by that. So please like and subscribe the video. Thank you to our sponsor, Secure Cyber, sponsors this YouTube channel and this weekly cyber update every week. And we thank them for that. If you're in the Dayton, Ohio region and you would like to come to our nonprofit, that is a spinoff of Secure Cyber, but it's its own separate group. That nonprofit, the Go Cyber Collective, meets the third Wednesday of every month. So it will be meeting next week, Wednesday, March 19th. Very special day. We'll have some visitors from Tel Aviv who are coming in to talk about some new technology that's in existence. We'll have a retired professor from the University of Dayton talking about cyber awareness technologies and how it's evolved. There'll be a great panel. It's totally free. Free breakfast, hot buffet style breakfast. And we're getting 80, 90 people a month now coming to this. And so if you're in this area, if you're in the Dayton, Columbus, Cincinnati region, and you're available 7:30 in the morning on Wednesday, March 19th until around 9:30 a.m., it's not a big investment. I think you'll get a lot out of it. So I hope to see you next week on the channel and at our special location. And hey, have a great weekend, and let's be careful out there.